Imagine opening your eyes for the first time in a world covered by ice. Not a world of cities, not a world of roads, not a world of supermarkets, hospitals, or electricity. A world where survival depends on every decision you make. A world where winter can last for months. A world where temperatures regularly fall far below freezing. This is the Ice Age. And if you had been born there, your life would have looked very different from the one you know today. First, let's clear up a common misconception. The Ice Age was not one endless frozen wasteland. There were enormous glaciers. Some stretched across entire continents. But many humans lived in regions that were cold rather than completely buried under ice. Large grasslands covered parts of Europe, Asia, and North America. These landscapes are sometimes called mammoth steppes, and they supported surprisingly rich ecosystems. Mammoths roamed the plains. Woolly rhinoceroses wandered across frozen grasslands. Herds of reindeer migrated over vast distances. Giant bison grazed in enormous numbers. Predators followed: wolves, cave lions, hyenas, and humans. If you were born into this world, your first challenge would simply be surviving childhood. Today, many babies survive because of modern medicine. Vaccines, hospitals, clean water, none of those existed during the Ice Age. Infant mortality was extremely high. Many children never reached adulthood. Life was harsh from the beginning. You would probably be born inside a temporary shelter, perhaps a structure made from animal hides, wood, bones, or a combination of all three. Your family would likely belong to a small hunter-gatherer group, perhaps 20 people, maybe 30, rarely much larger. These people would be your entire world, your family, your teachers, your protectors, your survival network. Unlike modern children, you would begin learning survival skills almost immediately. Not through formal education, but through observation. You would watch adults make tools, prepare food, build fires, track animals, and navigate the landscape. Every skill mattered, because mistakes could be deadly. One of the first things you would learn is that warmth equals life. In the modern world, being cold is uncomfortable. In the Ice Age, being cold could be fatal. Humans survived largely because they mastered fire. Fire provided warmth, light, protection, and a place for social interaction. The campfire became the center of daily life. People cooked around it, talked around it, slept near it, taught children beside it. Without fire, survival in many Ice Age environments would have been nearly impossible. Clothing was equally important. You would not own a closet full of outfits. You might possess only a few garments, but they would be incredibly valuable. Animal skins provided insulation. Fur trapped warm air close to the body. Some Ice Age humans produced surprisingly sophisticated clothing, using bone needles and animal sinew. Archaeological evidence suggests they were capable of creating fitted garments, rather than simply wrapping themselves in hides. Good clothing could mean survival. Poor clothing could mean death. Food would dominate much of your life. Modern people spend only a small portion of their day obtaining food. Ice Age humans spent enormous amounts of time thinking about it, searching for it, preparing it, preserving it. Your group might travel long distances following migrating animals. Entire communities often moved with the seasons. Food availability changed constantly. Success was never guaranteed. Some hunts provided enormous rewards. A mammoth could feed many people. A successful hunt might provide food for weeks. But mammoths were not easy targets. They were massive, powerful, and dangerous. A single mistake could be fatal. Hunters likely relied on teamwork, careful planning, and detailed knowledge of animal behavior. Contrary to popular images, humans probably did not spend every day charging at mammoths with spears. Most food likely came from a variety of sources: reindeer, fish, birds, small animals, plants, roots, berries, nuts. Survival depended on flexibility. If one food source disappeared, another had to replace it. This adaptability became one of humanity's greatest strengths. The environment itself constantly presented challenges. Ice Age weather could be unpredictable. Storms arrived suddenly. Temperatures dropped rapidly. Strong winds increased the risk of exposure. A person caught unprepared could die surprisingly quickly. Because of this, knowledge became one of the most valuable resources. Knowing where shelter existed, knowing where water could be found, knowing migration routes, knowing which plants were edible. Knowledge often mattered as much as physical strength, perhaps more. Children would spend years absorbing information from older generations. There were no textbooks, no internet. Knowledge survived through memory, stories, demonstrations, and experience. If important knowledge was lost, survival became more difficult. This is one reason elders may have been especially valuable. An older person might know where animals traveled during harsh winters, which valleys offered protection from storms, or which plants could treat illness. Experience accumulated over decades could save lives. Danger was everywhere. Predators shared the landscape with humans. Wolves hunted many of the same animals. Cave lions were among the largest cats ever to exist. Bears could be enormous. Most predators probably avoided humans when possible, but encounters still occurred. Fire likely helped reduce risk. So did staying in groups. A lone person was usually more vulnerable than a community. This pattern appears repeatedly throughout human history. Cooperation increased survival, and survival encouraged cooperation. Yet, life during the Ice Age was not only about danger. Humans laughed, told stories, formed friendships, fell in love, raised children, and created art. Some of the oldest known artworks were produced during the Ice Age. People painted animals on cave walls, carved figurines, created ornaments, and expressed ideas through symbols. This tells us something important. Even in harsh environments, humans sought meaning beyond survival. We were not simply surviving, we were living. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ice Age life is that humans achieved all of this without modern technology. No engines, no metal tools, no electricity, no machines, only stone, wood, bone, fire, and intelligence. Yet those resources proved sufficient. Humans spread across enormous territories, adapted to extreme climates, and survived conditions that would challenge many modern people. Over time, you would become an adult, if you survived childhood, if you avoided disease, if you escaped serious injury, if you found enough food. Life expectancy was much shorter than it is today, but this statistic can be misleading. Many people died young. Those who survived childhood could sometimes live much longer than people imagine. Still, every year presented new risks. A broken bone, a severe infection, a failed hunt, a harsh winter. Any of these could become life-threatening. There were no emergency services, no ambulances, no modern medicine. When problems appeared, communities relied on one another. And remarkably, archaeological evidence suggests they often cared for injured or disabled individuals. Some prehistoric skeletons show signs of severe injuries that healed over many years. This suggests that others provided food, protection, and assistance. People survived because communities helped them. Perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. If you were born during the Ice Age, your life would be harder in almost every physical sense. You would face colder temperatures, greater dangers, more uncertainty, and fewer comforts. Yet you would also live in a world where every skill mattered, where knowledge had immediate value, where communities depended on one another, and where survival was a shared effort. The Ice Age was not merely a time of ice. It was a time of adaptation, innovation, cooperation, and resilience. The people who lived through it were not primitive survivors stumbling through a frozen wilderness. They were intelligent humans, resourceful humans, creative humans. Humans very much like us. And perhaps that is the most surprising part of the story. If you had been born in the Ice Age, you would not be a different species. You would not think in a completely different way. You would still laugh, still fear, still hope, still dream. You would simply be facing a much harder world, a world of mammoths and glaciers, of campfires and stone tools, of endless challenges and extraordinary human ingenuity. a world that shaped the ancestors of everyone alive today.